Something new. Stop, drop, shut 'em down, open up shop. Oh, no, that's how rough riders roll. Stop, drop, shut 'em down, open up shop. Oh.
One of the biggest difference I think is at Chinese we ask people the personal information such as how old are you, where you work, do you make a lot of money at your work. But for American, people try to avoid those kind of sensitive conversations.
The culture difference in the way is that it's more direct in the American culture. It feels it's a little bit more casual. You call it your first names, you really give people hugs and rather than handshakes, And my culture is more like it's a lot more stricter. You don't give people, you don't ask people their first name. You call them by their family name, or you generally don't refer people. I say they're friends. There's this structural cultural thing that you approach people differently, especially people that are older than you.
In terms of personal space, I would say we don't really have as much personal space as the American culture does, because I was raised, whenever you meet someone, you shake their hand and give them a kiss on the cheek. And I've noticed, when my friends go over and my mom does that to them, a lot of them feel like, oh, what's going on? So I would think, honestly, the Mexican culture doesn't have as much defined personal space as the Americans do.
It's much more normal to get into someone's space in American culture. In African culture, unless you really know the person, you don't really, there's this circle of them that you don't get into. You don't hold hands, you respect. It's kind of like you look at them from afar, you don't get into them.
For me, personally, it's taken me about 1.5 to 2 years to adjust the American culture, because it's a huge learning curve for me to learn the English, and once English getting better, I start communicating with more Americans, and then around almost 2 years, finally I'm kind of used to the American culture.
Take quite a while to think about it. 6 months to a year.
At what point did you start to feel uncomfortable?
Not at any point, really.
How would you describe the culture of the engineering degree, the people you're around every day?
I guess confident.
Okay.
Would be.
At what point did you start to feel uncomfortable?
I didn't want to put up because I didn't want to say mean, but it was kind of uncomfortable, but I'm real friendly, so it didn't really bother me.
You felt a lot of other people out of placement rather than your own.
Yeah, I kind of was like, why do you need to sit on bed and all these vacant benches, but it didn't really bother me.
At what point did you start to feel uncomfortable?
I think that's okay.
You were okay with him sitting there?
Yeah.
Were you ever annoyed by him sitting next to you?
Not really annoyed.
No?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, do you think it was weird that out of all the other places he could have sat, he sat right next to you?
Yes, he could sat everywhere. I think he can sit there. No, that's okay.